Wilson, I have accepted your request. If you can just turn off your mic and hey Wilson, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys? Can you hear me now?
I'm yes, I can hear you and I can hear you very well. So Wilson, how are you doing? Before we dive into the AMA and the spaces, we would love to learn more about you. What's your background and how did you arrive here? How did you start building Honeypot Finance?
Sure. I can tell a bit of myself. So my background is I'm a senior developer. So my experience across the both Web 2 and Web 3. And I've been the Web 2, one of the Canadian top 30 innovative startup and labor. I've been serving the CTO there. And I joined the space around 2021, and I was helping one of the Cosmos project, Cosmos starter, to help them to build the launchpad. I was the CTO there as well. So that one, it turns out to be the end of the bull market. So wasn't really a successful launch, but I then found out the opportunities from the people that are working together with me through the Cosmos Starter. So, and I then just created the product for the Honeypot Finance, and we decided to launch on the Berachain because we have the connection with through the Waterloo, and and we decided to launch on the Berachain at August 2022, which we are actually one of the OG project on the Berachain, and I then found out many interesting the peoples in the space, and also we held really super talented PhD from the blockchain space, and we continue to work on the product. So that's it.
Yeah, thank you so much for that overview. So, can you give me an overview of Honeypot Finance? What's the primary motivation behind starting Honeypot Finance?
Uh, sure. So Honeypot Finance main motivation is we want to provide one-stop DeFi tools that allows user to seamlessly use all the DeFi related features without any hassles. So in the beginning, it'll be our Launchpad Gempad and our DEX handle DEX. But in the future, there would be more interesting DeFi related features coming, and some of them we want to let the user to build by themselves and launch through us. So we provide our one tokenomic HPOT to incentivize the good project, especially the good DeFi project that launches through us. And so I talked about it in the beginning is the Dreampad, the Launchpad, and the DEX, the handle DEX, the things that will be planned in the future, lottery, gambling, even the on-chain fund manager that people can use that to manage their on-chain fund, and the user can also, you know, in general, here's the summary. So user can use our protocols and use the DeFi product without any hassles, and they are also part of the creator of the future protocol. So that's kind of the product that we are trying to build.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that overview. Now, there are lots of DeFi platforms on the market. We have seen a DeFi summer, so there has been lots of innovation. How do you at Finance differentiate yourself from other DeFi platforms out there?
Yeah, that was actually a great question. So I will answer this way. So um, so the project that we see in the moment, the most DeFi projects are really small DeFi projects. They are focusing on one area. So for example, user would see the Launchpad product. They're just their liquidity is restricted within the Launchpad. It's not going anywhere else after launch. It's actually down, the user receive the token, and the project owner receive the token from the users. And DEX, the liquidity is only restricted for the DEX trading. It's not going to anywhere else. So this is the issue of the segregated liquidity. So we want to address this issue. So what we are building is that we are building a DeFi hub that integrate the AMM model, that we integrate everything, the launchpad and the DEX. So we address this kind of the low liquidity utilization issue. Why this kind of issue is low liquidity utilization issue? Because the liquidity is not going anywhere else. So through us, that's not the case. So the project that's been launched through us is launched the LP token, not the user receive and the project want to receive is both LP token, and then this LP token can be directly traded on the DEX through the Oracle. So in other words, user would be able to directly trade their launch token in our handle DEX after they launch their one token. So in this, we see that a product is actually integrated, and all the liquidity is free flow from one place to another. That makes our product really unique, and we can build a really giant product, not like really small product.
Yeah, so unlike the traditional DeFi pools or traditional swap pools where two tokens are locked in a pool, uh, you have uh, liquidity free flowing, right? That liquidity can be used to land or something like that.
Yes, exactly. Uh, so, so traditionally, we done this innovation through the launchpad. So let me give a bit more details for how it works. So in traditionally, the launchpad model looks like this. So user or any participant, they would participate the token launch. But the thing is, project launcher, they are setting up the predetermined price. Let's say 2 USDT per their token, and the user would probably just give the 2 USDT for whatever the launch that they are participating, and then they receive the token in return. So user receive the project token, and the project owner they receive the users USDT whatever the token that they choose to participate in the launch. Uh, so that's how traditional model works. So our launchpad is doing this way. So instead of letting the project owner they are setting the predetermined price, we have constructed an AMM pool. So in this AMM pool, that the project launcher will just put how many tokens that they decide to launch, and the user will come and put their one token into this AMM pool. So so in these procedures, it dynamically setting up the price. So we would see the price goes up and up because more user to join to launch. And after the launch, we already constructed an AMM pool. So this AMM pool that both user and the project launcher will get a half of LP token. So what they receive is not the individual token, it's an LP token. And then this launched pool will actually be added to the liquidity pool on the DEX side. So that's a beauty of our product. Everything beginning from the launchpad with an AMM model. So everything is constructed by the AMM model.
Thank you so much for explaining that bit in more detail, because I feel DeFi. When you are using DeFi as a general user, you don't just have to learn the product. You have to learn finances as well. So it's good to have a detailed explanation. So thank you so much for providing that. Now, My next question is you told me that in August 2022 you started building on Berachain. Uh, and I know that Berachain has a concept called proof of liquidity.
Right.
What
That's right.
are the so can you explain the advantages of building on the Berachain and why did you choose the Berachain?
Okay. That's a really, really great question. So now we see that the proof of liquidity becomes really, innovative concept, and everyone is talking about it. So in the beginning, when we joined the 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 Berachain ecospace, so the proof of liquidity concept is not that clear. The concept that we see from today is different from the original concept that it was back in 2020 August. So back in 2020 August, so the there the stable coin, the honey, is based on the algorithm, but today we see it's just the stable coin that based on on the asset itself. So we see that Berachain themselves done um, a lot of the progress and innovation, but we're still following up with the Berachain, because by 2022 August, they already built up the community that they're joking that the meme, and this is the thing that we really like, and we tend to actually build our one community in the same way, and and we see that there are many progress that continue to going on, and initially that we are actually one of the contributor to to form the initial balance model for the bear chain. You see nowadays that there are one backs use a balance model. So some of actually the innovation that I personally I talked to Smokey and the other founder, and we that's how we see the proof of liquidity models today, and how it's actually evolved from the past to the today. And so there's many advantages that with a proof of liquidity. Uh, one of the example that I would say is actually uh, users would be able to gain more incentives. So not only through us, but through other protocol as well. For example, just taking to our tokenomic design. So um, in order to fully use of the proof of liquidity mechanism to provide the best incentive to the users, and we design a portion of the bribe that when user use a BGT to delegate, they will receive our one governance token HPOT incentives. And we can maximize this incentive through the collaboration with the other key partners. Just give an example, we use infrared to max the return for the user. Except that that they would receive the HPOT, user would also be able to receive IBGT and ARAT in the stake to earn the maximized return. So that's the beauty of the about the chain. Everyone is actually trying to maximize the incentive and returns, and every product or most of the products we are trying to do some sort of the innovation, whether it's small or big. So this is a pretty good chain, and yeah.
Thank you so much for that answer. Now, one of the very common features that any DeFi product would have is a swap. Now, when I look at your product, you guys would have swap as well. But how would a swap on Honeypot Finance would differ from anything else?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. Um, so Honeypot Finance, we use our one swap protocol. We call that a batch A2MM. So this batch A2MM protocol is the hackathon winner of the East Shanghai. So why it's special? So we have actually two stages. So the first stage is batch. what is batch? So here's how the batch work. The many user, they will come at the same time. Traditionally, pretty much around the same time, and some user demand for trading the token A to token B, and the other user demand for trading the token B to token A. Let's just see this example. So in traditional model, they will create a separate AMM pool, and this separate AMM pool, because they're pretty much being created at the same time, user would experience the slippage. So what batch allows is actually we aggregate the order pretty much in the same time to anti-slippage. But the story is not ended in here. We use A2MM protocol to as a next step to address asymmetry order on both parts, so that we can avoid the anti-sandwich attack that makes us to provide the most secure and safe and both also the gas efficient trading experience that they could have. And more importantly, because we are actually launching our product on the Berachain, so our protocol, the batch A2M is something that is really similar to Uniswap V2, in which we can fairly distribute the BGT emission, and compared to some of the protocols that use Uniswap V3 model that could possibly divide one trading pair to more than 100. So I can't imagine how they can actually fairly distribute the BGT. But with our protocol, swap protocol, we can fairly distribute the BGT emission and to best represent the user's interest.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that answer. Now, one thing that I noticed on your platform was governance. Personally, I'm a big fan of governance. I I think when you talk about decentralization, governance is very important. And if you don't have governance, there are few people who are making decisions, then that's a centralized entity basically. Uh, so I really love that you guys have a governance model. So you guys have introduced like a good unique governance model. Can you discuss the challenges with the traditional DeFi governance model and how you guys are trying to address these issues?
Yeah, for sure. So we don't really like the traditional approach of how the traditional governance work. So the most popular approach would actually be there's a traditional delegated model, and the delegator would actually delegate some peoples uh, uh, based on how much balance that their wallet has. So basically, the the balance of the amount in the wallet would represent the voting powers. That's how the traditional governance model works. In my or in our team's mindset, we think everyone should actually have the equal rights. So we do it this way. So we have written a repo which is called the Decentralized Access Control Library. In a So we allow the people to for example to create a different roles in the under this role. For example, if this role, that's just give me example, this role is representing the economic, right? Any economic interest, for example, staking or the other is managed by this economic the role itself. And this role has the role manager and also the regular role member. They are going to collaboratively making the decision. For example, the staking, how what would be the ratio should be, and everyone has the equal right to make the decision. And whenever um, the we need to add the new regular role member, or just remove any regular role member, it has to be everyone, at least 50% of the members who agree on this is okay to do. So everyone has equal right to vote in a in a what makes it more beauty about this kind of the protocol design is actually we make it further. It's decentralized. So once you are the member of one role, you can't be the member of another. So this kind of decentralized design and the equal rights of the voting would make our governance model to be unique.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that answer. Now, uh, let's talk about very crucial part of DeFi, right? Now, you can build a really good product, but if you don't have liquidity or if you don't have enough funds that people can come in and trade with and things like that, uh, the product would not be a successful product. So for DeFi to work, you need to have a certain amount of liquidity. Now that liquidity is provided by users. So let's talk about incentives. So incentives play a crucial role when you are trying to attract liquidity providers. So how does Honeypot Finance structure its incentives for liquidity providers? And then the second question would be, why would someone choose Honeypot Finance over any other protocols?
Um, yeah, this question is kind of hard. We kind of actually do it differently than the other protocols. So in my mind, so the we don't actually think that some of the big liquidity provider are more in a better position than the normal users. So our protocol purely represents the user's interest. So that you can see that from I so when we do the tokenomic design, we don't have the specific proportion that in in that would actually be allocated to the big liquidity provider. We don't provide that kind of incentives. So all the things that we do is actually we give every rights to the users. And that actually we have pretty cool design, pretty damn good design from our product perspective, and that combined with the tokenomic design. So from the product perspective, that we can, as we are building a community-run DeFi hub, and so all the liquidity is actually coming from the dream pad, which is the launch pad, and the one user who is actually launching a token, and the other user they deposit the liquidity. So that forms an MM pool, and this MM pool would actually be added to the DEX when later stage that the user wants to do the trading, and it's automatically through the Oracle. So the 100% of liquidity will actually come from the launch pad, and so we don't actually need any specific incentive from our tokenomics to attract the big liquidity provider to come. We give the best interest in to the users, and so why we are doing this way is we are really just thinking, we are really trading our user to be not only our user, but we think that they are the friend, and they need to actually benefit from our product, and they also need to benefit from our token price. So uh, this is really important. So uh, so we don't really want our token to be purely just for the token consumption, to attract those big liquidity provider to come, and we use our one token to reward them. This typical thing that in my mind would actually devalue the token price in the long term. So most of the products or most of the protocol they choose to do this way, but we don't. I think users through the way that we are treating them like a friend, not just regular users, they gain more benefits. They also gain the long term value of our token price.
Awesome, Wilson. Yeah, thank you so much for that answer. Now, let's say if I want to join your community, if I want to join the Honeypot Finance community and start doing some things, uh, can you guide me through what should be my first steps to join Honeypot Finance communities? How can I start getting involved in the product you are building? How can I contribute as a community member? If you can, just guide us through that.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So we tend to host a lot of the activity in our Discord. There's many games that we design in our Discord. So like the Rainbow and like the poker, those are the games that our community manager they constantly run and that we play together with the users. Sometimes I even actually join those games and play with the user together. So we interact with our users, and so users on their end, they when they play in this kind of game, they will actually gain the points. The points that we design is the Berachain points. Sometimes it's 3 points or 5 points. Depends on what kind of the activity that we run for this time or next time. So in those points actually uh, would be directly related to for example, whether they're going to gain the OG role in our communities or the WL, the white list of the function that they'll be able to testing. So uh, we tend to make it fun and meme and also host as many games as possible. So this is how that again that we want to train our user to be not just user to be our friends. We play the game just like friends to play the game. So that's how we actually do with our communities.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Now, there is something called variable incentives. Please correct me if I'm getting this wrong. So, I read about something called variable incentives in one of your Medium blogs.
Mhm.
Uh, can you explain the variable incentives to me? What are those and how do those work?
Sure. So this is actually the variable incentive. So it's tied up to our one governance model. So the governance model is going to decide. Okay, so here's the thing that we really want to let our users, let ourselves to think of. We need to represent the best interest for the user. So how are we gonna do that? Let's say, for example, if we want to actually provide the staking, so what the staking should be. Um, so traditionally, the most protocol like the Pioneer, the Sushi Swap, they would provide the fixed um, the staking ratio. Let's say 5% or whatever the percent it is. So this is really damn hard because um, that doesn't really give the best interest to the user. Let's just think one scenario. So the crypto has many ups and downs in a downturn like the bear market. Too many incentives sometimes hurt your token price, and that hurts your users. So this is the typical thing that we don't really want to run with our protocol. So what we do is actually, again, we use our one on-chain governance, which is our unique governance model that based on the role, and we collaboratively let the user to decide, okay, what will be the ratio, what will be the incentive that we're going to provide to the users. So, and that actually provides the robust economics to our protocol, and so we can treat our user fairly. So when the economic is kind of down and when the crypto market is down and they kind of notice that and they know that they need to maintain the token price, they sort of just reduce a bit of the staking or whatever the ratios. And when the economy is back on track and and the incentive the higher incentive is more attractive, so they can sort of the flexibly adjust. That's kind of the thing that we want to do and treat our users. Again, we treat our users as our friends, and that's the why we have this thing in our ment.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that answer. Now, uh, let's move on to the NFTs that you guys are building. There is something called Honey Genesis. First of all, I really like the name. Uh, and I really, so one thing I want to compliment you on you guys is that your branding is just really beautiful. I really love the colors on your website, colors on your social, and in your branding. So kudos to that. Kudos to your designer who has built such a great branding.
Thank
Uh,
you.
yeah, I mean, Honeypot, Honey Genesis, I love those. And when you are launching on Berachain, those make even more sense. Uh, Now, Honeypot Finance has NFT called Honey Genesis. What is the role of these NFTs in your ecosystem? What are your plans in terms of integrating this NFT in products?
Um, okay, cool. So, yeah, I think our NFT Honey Genesis is really special in the Berachain ecosystem space. The reason why it's special is because uh, the most of the NFT product in the Berachain, they're still purely meme driven NFT. So so they don't launch the one token. They're just launching their NFT. There's not actually um, the other benefits which is tied to the NFT. So we want to actually give the users not just an NFT. We want to give the users uh, an NFT and also many other benefits that we we want to give to our user. For example, our NFT, as mentioned by our meeting articles, our NFT, the owner of the NFT would be associated with the token airdrop. So this is the first benefit that they can get the right to gain the token. And our token is not any like a V3 model which actually devalue the price in the long term. We tend to actually limit the supply of our token and the so the token price, we have a really good mechanism to drive up the price, yeah, in the long term. um, and the NFT holder can actually benefit from this design. That's one thing. And another thing is actually Honeypot Finance itself. Uh, we devised a really special flywheel model, and in this flywheel model, the launch token from our dream pad would actually participate the big flywheel model. So that we distribute a part of the income, our income from the those meme token to be part of the big flywheel model, and our NFT owners would be able to have the access to our one income uh, from those meme tokens. So this is another thing that we are doing for our user. So holding an NFT from the Honeypot financing, not just holding an NFT, is holding an NFT, is holding an the expectation of the airdrop. It's holding our future income. So we basically our NFT gives you everything that you can imagine.
Yeah, thank you so much for that answer. And we look forward to seeing your NFTs. And when Metapath integrates Berachain, we would love to have your NFTs on our marketplace as well. So thank you so much for that answer. Now,
No problem.
one thing that I want to ask DeFi projects, like, this is like a common question that I ask every DeFi project. The uh, The DeFi projects have lots of money locked with them, lots of money that they have to manage, that they have to handle, that they have to handle very carefully, and it's users' money. So,
Mhm.
what are your security protocols? What proactive actions that you have been taking to make sure security is as good as it can get on your product?
Sure. So first of all, the most of the developers from our protocol are the system developers from the past successful crypto project, and we tend to take the code is the is the most valuable asset. So that's actually you can see from how we deliver the product perspective, how we make sure that our code is safe and secure enough. So at the first stage, we have the prototype team called Yanks Lab. So we build up the prototype, and we make sure that everything working smooth and you know um, safe. So, um, but we don't actually end up here. So everything is actually built by the Yanks Lab. We migrate to the project, our Honeypot Finance project. Our project team continue to inspect if there's any security loophole, if there's anything, any way that we can, reduce reduce the gas price, and we can do any sort of optimization to, make the user more happy about the using of our protocols. So we tend to actually the security and the safety is one of the most important priority um, for our protocol. This is one side of the story. On the other hand, side of the story is actually so we tend actually also to have a really secure operation side of the story. So our team. So I'm not actually treating myself as a CEO. I'm actually treating myself to be just a regular member. So from our team, the whenever we receive any income, so it's actually being actually we have the multi-signature wallet to manage any income, and we have the really strict process on how we record each transaction and things like that. So all the income that we receive, we tend to think how we can best allocate our income. So, for example, how we can use our income to back up our token price to let the user to enjoy more benefits and more long-term benefits. So uh, we tend to be really secure, and we tend to actually also to seek the way that to um, operationally help the user to grow their asset through our H part backup plan that is tied up to the multi-signature operation that we run internally.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Now, Wilson, it has been really great speaking with you here today. I have one more question for you before we go towards the community questions. So I'll while you answer the next question, I'll go and. But yeah, I just want to say it has been really great speaking with you. We have learned a lot about what you guys are building, about DeFi and how uh, DeFi platforms work. So thank you so much for joining and answering all our questions.
Happy to speak to you as well. Yeah, I'm really happy to be in here. Yeah.
Awesome. So, uh, what will be your next step? So, I know Berachain is in testnet right now. They will go in mainnet in some time. But what are the new things that are developing? What are the new things that are innovating? That you are innovating. So, can you please share about the evolution of the Honeypot Finance and your future plans?
Sure, no problem. So currently, so we are actually at a Q1 stage. We are actually running a private testnet launch with our uh, whitelist of wallet user. Those are users who actually did a lot of the game and a lot of activity with us in the past, and we select them to be the first tester to witness our product. So at this stage, we let them to test how they can fairly launch their token, and how they can participate in those launch, and how they can actually trade their tokens with our one platform. So the number is actually amazing. we have the 78 unique wallet participants, and they initiated more than 131 token campaigns, and the number is still growing. And also, there's more than 600 deposits that done. So it's pretty amazing. This um, big and supportive the whitelist members who actually did amazing testing and have a lot of feedback. So we can actually to work on those feedback to continue to improve our product. And at the next phase, we are going to actually also to bridge the launchpad and the DEX. So when the user launches a token, they will be immediately see that their launcher token uh, appear in the DEX. So there's we are currently addressing the issues as this right now. There's something that we haven't solved in the past. For example, um, when user launch like more than 140 tokens campaign at the same time, to let them to show in the liquidity pool as a front end perspective, and it's not that easy. It's too many requests to be sent at the same time and that them to show. So we kind of need to actually to smartly to deal with this kind of issues and to provide a smooth experience to our users. So the next step is we are still building and still delivering this kind of the features that really makes our protocol not only as a DeFi, but as a DeFi hub, then we can say that we achieved our goal. And after letting those, the wallets, the whitelist of wallet participants to test, then we're going to open up the public test to let more users to experience the product. So and that's kind of the plan what it is, and yeah, there's many work that we need to still working on.
Awesome, Wilson. Thank you so much for joining the spaces today. I checked community questions. I think most of them you have already answered. So if community or everyone listening over here, if you have more questions, you can follow Wilson. You can follow Honeypot Finance as well, and you can join that Discord. Play in the regular games, and ask them questions if you have any questions with that. Questions for them. Wilson, again, thank you so much for joining today. It was great to hear from you. It was great to hear about Honeypot Finance. We really appreciate you coming over here and spending some time with us.
I really be appreciated to be invited to talk and seeing so many people are listening about the Honeypot Finance. I'm really glad to have everyone, each of you, to be here and yeah, really appreciate it.
Okay, everyone. We do these AMAs and spaces every week. If you're listening over here or if you're listening later on YouTube, thank you so much for joining and spending some time with us. We will see you next week. Goodbye.
Thank you.